Well, it's a tough decision. You'll be all right. I did it 3 times.
Change jobs? Yeah. Yeah.
One time I had three offers.
She's getting a code through.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. What were you saying, Tim?
I had 3 offers one time. I'm like, oh, dude. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yep. Yeah, it was not an easy decision.
How long has it been here?
7 years. And it's weird to think about living here and not like planning it. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that adjustment.
Make sure you mute your mic. And your sound.
Learning new tricks, so thanks for being patient with us.
You guys okay? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Nelson's March Planning Commission meeting. We might have a person zoom in here just a little bit, so we'll keep going. If he does, we'll welcome him on.
Yep,
I got
Brad and.
And Brandon, hi, Bubba.
Yep, right on.
Okay, for that, I'll ask you to do a roll call vote then since we're having that.
Okay, Brad Valentine,
Here.
Cheryl Ramey Hunt,
Here.
Carol Hannah,
Here.
Kyle Eichhorn,
Here.
Tim Pritchard,
Here,
Jenny Sisson, here, Connie Schultz Hines.
Here.
Very good.
thank you. We do have a full quorum. I could ask the board to review the minutes that are on your laptop. Entertain motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the February 2021 planning commission.
Thank you, Cheryl. I have a second.
I second that.
Thank you, Jen. So, roll call, Rachel.
Brad Valentine,
Yes.
Cheryl Ramey Hunt,
Yes.
Carol Hannah,
Yes.
Kyle Eichhorn,
Yes.
Tim Pritchard,
Yes,
Jenny Sisson,
Yes.
Connie Schultz Hines.
Yes.
thank you. Okay, first item tonight is old business. There's actually probably 2 on there that will carry one time, the thoroughfare plan update and the UDO is Unified Development.
Yep, so, as we were, I don't know know if all the people that were on Zoom have heard, I have accepted a new job, and my last day here with Pendleton is gonna be on the 26th. And it's looking as though Kayla is gonna be our new planning director. And that's not all finalized yet, but that's kind of what we're planning on. And then we think we'll be hiring someone to fill Kayla's position after she gets bumped up. So we'll keep you guys posted on how that's progressing forward. So in the meantime, we're trying to figure out our transition plan on how to transition kind of my long-term projects over to Kayla. Because I think Kayla's going to dabble into the long-range planning more than the current planning that she usually does. So we're going to try to make sure everything stays in good hands and afloat and on track. So there we go. So thoroughfare plan updates.
Well, first of all, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you.
I think on behalf of the board, you've done a great job, so we wish you the best.
Thank you.
You're always welcome back,
Thank you.
even if you're sitting out there.
I know, it was really.
I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Just be careful driving. I drove down there for almost 30 years. It's crazy.
Well, thank you guys. It's been
Okay.
awesome working here. Hey, and I was thinking today as I was driving here, do you remember 7 years ago when we were doing like maybe 3 plan commission meetings a year?
Yeah,
And now it's like a no-brainer that we're having plan commission every month.
never
So,
got someone.
yeah, I mean, we've done a
I don't
lot.
think we will from now on out. Growth.
I don't know, excited to see things moving forward still, even though I won't be here, so I'll still be here.
Watch the potholes down.
Catch a few of them every now.
Okay, well, since our February planning commission meeting, we did get the access management and control ordinance through the first reading at the February town council meeting. It's on the agenda for a second reading on March 11th, so we were glad to see that moving forward. We've been working with Ryan and Brandon on different options for that right-of-way dedication ordinance that we kind of tabled last meeting because we weren't comfortable with the way it was moving forward. So we've got some other things to discuss later on in the meeting, but we'll take a deeper dive into that later. We also had a online transportation survey that I'm hoping you guys had seen on Facebook, and we had about 280 responses with that survey, all for that transportation plan or our thoroughfare plan. Our next steps on that, of course, that access management control ordinance will be going to the town council on the 11th, and I don't see any reasons that they wouldn't accept it on second reading. We will be having steering committee meeting number 6 before the end of March. Council of Governments is finalizing the transportation demand analysis. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Model, transportation, say it right.
The travel demand model
Thank you.
analysis.
And forecasting, and then if we stay on schedule with everything, a final draft will be presented to the steering committee and staff in April. And then after steering committee sees it, we'll be making plans on how to move it forward to get in front of you guys. Any questions about the thoroughfare plan? For the unified development ordinance, we are working on our final timeline for adoption. Just with transition of staff and just where we're at in the process, we think we'll be looking to do a small extension on that moratorium through the end of June, which I really feel okay about, just with the type of work that we've had and having this transition happening now. We are, like I said, we're finalizing that schedule. There's going to be a lot of meetings in the month of May. We'll make sure that everyone's aware of it, but we're hoping everyone can participate. And if we tell you probably in the next couple of weeks exactly what that schedule is going to look like, just mark your calendars and be ready. We want to make sure that we're communicating as well as we can with the public and giving them time to digest the unified development ordinance so that we get good feedback if things need to be tweaked and changed before it is fully adopted. Monthly report number 8, it's included in your plan commission Google Drive folder. It's kind of our progress that we've had in the last month. We did hold focus group meeting number 3 on February 17th. That was a really good meeting. We were able to pick the brains of some leadership in town about residential design guidelines. And I think we're in a very good place to keep moving that forward. This month, Kayla and I are going to be doing some final reviews of the chapters from planning workshop, and we're also going to be sending them to the town attorney for review. We are planning on having a final draft without illustrations the first full week of April that we'll be sending to the steering committee to review, and then we'll hold a steering committee meeting the third week of April, tentatively third week of April, for them to provide any feedback. And then at that meeting, we will have the illustrations available for review. So
Is that like Madison County, like they do the little sketches? Is that?
yeah, we'll
Okay.
have images for sure, and that will help clarify some of the language I've mentioned. After that, it's going to go to a public review process where we will make it public. We'll do a public workshop after that, and then we will present it to you guys too. We'll release it to you guys for review. Do the public workshop. After the public workshop and public input, it comes back to you guys. We'll tweak it. We'll end up doing a public hearing, and then at the public hearing, we'll be looking for a recommendation from the planning commission to send it to town council for adoption. Kayla is going to kick butt at making sure all this stays on track. She is. So,
We have very talented consultants helping us with this project.
It'll be fine.
we'll be fine. So that is where we're at on the thoroughfare plan. So again, kind of our short term is she and I are going to be working really hard this month to make sure we're going through it, reviewing it, making sure all the changes that we've gathered from the steering committee and the staff all got recorded and done and tweaked in the drafts that they had originally sent us. And then we're going to send it over to Jeff Graham's office for him to start reviewing. We have a couple chapters already that are basically done that are going to get sent over to Jeff probably before the end of this week. So keep an eye out for those, Jeff. I know you're on here somewhere.
Will do.
Thank you. I think that's all we got for tonight with the UDO update, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Okay, the first item on the agenda tonight in old business is Crumpton Veterinary Clinic. Site development plan, we had tabled that last meeting to get some more information. From a site layout and the fire department.
So the fire department has approved this layout. There is the addition of an emergency turnaround on the plan you're looking at tonight. A little later in the presentation. I included a lot of the same information from last meeting so you could see the site. There we go. Yep, so this is the very tiny plan showing that site. But it is the same as you saw last month. I'm happy to provide a larger copy if you need to show one back here. I'm gonna, did you guys want one by 17? Just so you can actually look at it.
So it's the same with the addition of that turnaround in the back.
Yes. They've also added acoustic buffering along the north part of the parking lot, in case there were any concerns about sounds, of barking dogs or anything like that. The designer, Mark Graff, who is on this call tonight, wanted me to let you guys know that the dog park will really be just for dogs that are at the vet clinic. So they will be accompanied at all times by their owner. It is also serving as the drainage area. So I've been assured that it's going to be draining out very quickly into the drain line that is along Pendleton Avenue and then goes into a ditch up by Reformatory Road. And Scott Resky, our town manager, is also an engineer, is looking at the storm calculations and seems to think that it works pretty well, especially since the site is so small. As far as that 12-foot drive back to the employee parking area, we found a couple ways to make that a little bit easier to navigate. As you can see, there is signage that will be posted at that entrance that will say employee parking only or access past this point. Additionally, the sidewalk that is along that side of the building, which is employee access only, will have a rolled curb on it. So between the rolled curb and a little bit more room on that sidewalk, if somebody needed to get a tire up there to say, make an emergency movement to pass a car around that corner, there's gonna be room there and you won't be ruining a tire or running into somebody. So for the light use that is expected of that area, this should give everybody enough room to navigate. Once again, if this weren't dealing with an existing site, we probably wouldn't be in this situation with this particular drive. The additional emergency turnaround gives not only emergency vehicles, but also if that parking lot should ever fill up, other cars the ability to turn around back there very easily as well. You can see the landscaping plan. Species are yet to be determined, but there will be a landscape buffer along along Pendleton Avenue side. So that should shield headlights across Pendleton Avenue because there are residences across the road. Well, right now there's a very wide cut onto Pendleton Avenue. That's going to be reduced about in half. And then there will be another drive at the north side of the property. And Rachel and I talked about this at length, and we're pretty happy with the two cuts. The width is something we've talked about quite a bit. This site has kind of come in at a midpoint of our ordinance, with our access management control ordinance being really well reviewed at this point, but not finalized. So we compared it against our existing plan business design guidelines, as well as our access control ordinance. You can go to the next page, Rachel. So this shows the existing site once again. And the closest thing that our access management control ordinance shows to the layout that the vet clinic would like to use is an in and an out access, no narrower than 16 feet wide, with angled parking. Now in this case, they don't have the angled parking, but they very much do fit that two access points that could be made into an in and out. But if you guys would like that.
And just to kind of hash out again with what Kayla was saying, typically we would want one point of entry for a parking lot. This isn't a different area. This is a really, residential area. We looked at the thoroughfare plan, our interim thoroughfare plan map. So this is in the context zone. It's also on a collector street. So it wasn't an arterial road. So we think the traffic, we just really kind of struggled with what to do with it in terms of the driveway cuts. So I think at the end of the day, we both think it's fine and it will work, unless you guys really had a strong preference that this should be a one-way in and a one-way out driveway, or if they should just have one driveway. But we really just didn't think it would be an issue. Just with the context of the site, and even with any future growth that would happen in the area. There is a farm field to the northeast of this site that at some point could potentially turn into single family residential. However, we think the access point to that potential subdivision would likely connect up to Reformatory Road, where there would be a roundabout or something like that. So we just didn't think there would be a lot of conflict added with the two drives.
I mean, this is basically on two old lots, right? So
Yes.
if it was two
That was the
houses,
other
they would
thing.
have two
Yeah.
driveways.
Yep, exactly.
The easiest solution I saw was if we could limit both of the drives to no wider than 24 feet, then it would be no different than one of the residential drives. And that's, I think one of the drives is at 25 right now. So if it was shrunk a foot, it would be two very nice width drives into each old lot. That would still do basically what the petitioners want to do. And the access management control ordinance does give the plan commission the opportunity to allow drives no less than 65 feet apart in instances of redesign of a older site like this. And all of the drives along this section of Pendleton Avenue would fit perfectly in that scenario. I did measure
I'm
from the
thinking
older site.
too, I mean, the business, I mean, you make appointments, you've got a flow of traffic. It's not like everybody's coming in or out at one time normally, because you have appointments and your full schedule, the flow, it's not like it's a fast food restaurant where you've got a lineup of cars coming in and out.
I mean, but keep in mind too, that with you saying that, this is a planned business zone site, so at some point the use could change if Dr. Crabtree were to ever leave and sell it, so we do have to kind of think about it in those terms too. However, it's in a neighborhood area. I know we changed the zoning on it. It's kind of a neighborhood feel, and I think that's what we like about the site. So that's, I guess, where we thought the 2 drives were still appropriate.
And they're wide enough for in and out at the same time.
And we're kind of in the middle of stuff, and that's why we wanted to just bring it up with you guys tonight to make sure you guys were comfortable with what we were recommending as staff.
It'll probably help deliver to truck them at one entrance, but the other.
Yeah, I think there's a lot, it's a lot of place.
I don't think they'll be driving in the back for deliveries. Turn around.
Someone like these drives in the middle of the lane. Get
Sure.
around me.
You're one of those.
I feel like everything we talked about at the last meetings, perfect in our drives.
Fire department's comments were,
They are happy with it.
all right,
The acoustic barrier, that's just bushes, right?
I believe so, but Dr. Crabtree as well as Mark Graff, they're both on here tonight, so if you would like to address any questions for them, unless you have anything more for me. I think Rich and I are both very happy with how this site has progressed over the last month.
board have any questions from engineers or folks?
Looks good.
Connie or Brad, do you have any questions?
Not at this time.
Yeah, thank you, Brad. Any comments or questions from anybody in the audience? All right. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to accept PC 01062021-2 Jones Veterinary Clinic Site Development Plan as presented tonight.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Carol. Do I have a second?
I give it a second.
Thank you, Jen. Rachel?
Brad Valentine,
Yes.
Cheryl Ramey Hunt,
Yes.
Carol Hannah,
Yes.
Kyle Eichhorn,
Yes.
Tim Pritchard,
Yes.
Jenny Sisson,
Yes.
Connie Schultz-Heim.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. We didn't do it right away, did we?
Mark and Brent, do either of you have any questions before we move on?
I don't have any questions unless Dr. Crabtree does. I'm not sure if he's on live, but thanks. We really appreciate all you guys' hard work on this, and we'll do our best to make sure we comply with everything possible here.
Thank you.
I don't think Dr. Crabtree is on live, but he is listening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay, next we have the right-of-way dedication ordinance. So we have a little bit of a twist tonight for you. So over the last month, we've been working on this with Brandon and Ryan, and one of the thoughts we had that council government suggested to us was actually just including this with our unified development ordinance update, rather than having it be a separate ordinance, which we thought was a great idea. And there's lots of other communities in Indiana that have done this. If you guys look in your Google Drive folders, we have several examples of other communities that have done this very same thing. There's 5 of them. We also worked on changing some wording that kind of addresses some of your concerns, Kyle, even though I think we still need to take a deep dive into it today just to talk about those parts and pieces. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Brandon and Ryan at this time. Brandon's online, and then of course Ryan's here in person.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yep.
Good. Well, thank you for the introduction, Rachel. I'm Brandon Candera. I'm with Madison County Council of Governments. I'm the project manager for the Pendleton Thoroughfare Plan. Ryan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Ryan Phelps, the Principal Transportation Planner with the Council of Governments.
I want to first provide some background and context about the right-of-way dedication ordinance and adoption process before we discuss potential changes to the ordinance from when we met last in February. It was determined last year that the right-of-way dedication ordinance would be separate from the UDO and should be adopted as soon as possible to get in front of any immediate development proposals. At this time, if you remember, we adopted the interim thoroughfare plan map. Since then, the timelines for the right-of-way dedication ordinance and the UDO have now aligned, and we are recommending that we incorporate the right-of-way dedication text into the UDO. We came to this recommendation once we started our research after last month's Plan Commission meeting, when you all requested to see other jurisdictions' dedication ordinances. We found that across Indiana, it is a best practice to include the right-of-way dedication text into the UDO. The UDO technical staff and town staff agreed, and we will be meeting next week to establish what this looks like and how we can get it done before the moratorium expires. Moving forward, I will be giving updates on the right-of-way dedication ordinance as part of the UDO whenever that is formally presented to the Plan Commission. So we are not necessarily asking for a favorable recommendation or any direct action by the commission until further notice. Now, we have also tweaked the dedication ordinance text to address some of your concerns from the February Plan Commission meeting. First and foremost, we have matched most of the language from the dedication ordinance to fall in line with the UDO text, so both ordinances use the same language and definitions. Second, and probably the biggest adjustment is changing the way right-of-way is to be dedicated to the town. Now, right-of-way will only be dedicated once a land alteration permit is being used for a new development such as a subdivision. Current property owners will not have to dedicate right-of-way if, for example, they are putting on a new roof on their house and they use the improvement location permit. The property owners are not subject to dedicating right-of-way. The original intent of using the improvement location permit was to incorporate redevelopment projects. Switching to the land alteration permit could result in the town missing some of these right-of-way acquisition opportunities, but it sounds it would be better with the direction Plan Commission members provided at the last meeting. Furthermore, I have forwarded the most recent version of the dedication ordinance text to the town staff for you all to review, and I would like you to specifically look at the Brownsburg, Indiana UDO example. I think this is the strongest example for a town to be protected from a developer going bankrupt and not completing the infrastructure work. The Brownsburg, Indiana UDO text can be found at the bottom of the right-of-way dedication ordinance text. In closing, do you have any questions regarding how or why we are incorporating the right-of-way dedication text into the UDO, or why we are just using the land alteration permit and not the improvement location permit?
And I'll kind of speak to that a little bit. So right now, when we issue a permit in the planning department, we just issue a improvement location permit. We don't have the land alteration permit that we do right now. With the UDO update, we're going to have two permits: the land alteration permit, which is going to be geared more towards when we're doing large subdivision projects, if you're coming in to do an alteration to the land in terms of land work, earthwork, that type of thing. Now, the improvement location permit is going to be for new homes, for a new roof, for an addition to a house, things like that. So there are two different types of permits. And that's why we thought maybe this one would make a little more sense for us at this time, is that when there is a land alteration permit being pulled, usually with a large subdivision, they're going through that process anyway, they're dedicating right of way to us. So we thought that makes sense versus the improvement location permit where, you know, if someone's pulling a roof permit, we're not going to we're not going to go through the review process to see if they should donate right of way to the town. I don't know if that helps clear up some of your concerns that you had last month, Kyle.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I looked up some Supreme Court cases to that effect anyway, Nolan and Dolan, and I think that seems appropriate, so.
And I'd say that's probably that's the major change that we worked through this past month on it. And like Brandon said, we'll start weaving that into the UDO update. We emailed with KK and Deb today and they were like, yes, let's do this. You know, Bartholomew, I can't say it.
Columbus and Bartholomew County.
Yes, KK was really involved with that process, and so
Yeah.
she feels really comfortable and is all on board with it. So we'll be working on that next week. I think we had some meeting dates we were trying to nail down. And,
It really shouldn't take very much work to roll it into the UDO. The language doesn't change too much from the standalone, but the application changes just slightly. And it'll be much easier for staff to roll it into their existing work.
so thanks for holding us up. Worked out perfectly.
Okay, questions?
More to come, I guess.
More to come. We'll go right to interchange.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, I did give you guys some information last month on the interchange master plan. And I guess wanted to see if you guys had any feedback or comments. We do take this back to the redevelopment commission tomorrow night. I'll just be giving them any feedback that you guys may have had on the proposal. Kimley Horn is working on their final draft of the plan to bring to the redevelopment commission, not tomorrow night, but likely in the month of April. But yeah, this is the time if there was anything, I just want to make sure we felt comfortable moving forward because this is a project that you guys will likely be pushing forward to along with the redevelopment commission. If you guys want me to do kind of an overview again of this, I'm happy to. And if not, that's okay too.
That's any questions you want?
I just like the idea of having a plan so that when things come to us, we know how that fits into the big picture.
And people know when they're planning something, what to
Yeah,
expect.
what to expect, yeah. So this is I think this is gonna help us a lot.
Connie and Brad, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Go ahead, Connie.
No, I'm good, Brad. Go ahead.
When is the next phase of the master plan going to be rolled out? I mean, is it in its final form now, or is this still, conceptual ideas as to the future Keystone Development District, the placement of the advanced manufacturing and technology, the 67th Street bypass intersection?
Okay, so this, the conceptual plan right here, like I said, tomorrow I'm taking this back to the RDC to say that the plan commission didn't have any objections to it, that we're on board with it. And then Kimley Horn is wrapping up their final pieces of the plan, and they'll be presenting that document of, what the definitions are of all of these areas. They're looking at, there's going to be a technical piece of it too with drainage and stormwater. That will be part of it. I don't know if that answers your question.
I'll ask a more specific question. The extension coming from Anderson, the 67th Street extension, is basically linking a lot of heavy industrial areas back to I-69. Have you specifically determined where that potential truck traffic would be brought into the 219 interchange?
I think that this is a tough one for me to answer. There are very different theories on the truck traffic, the potential truck traffic that could be coming down the 67th Street extension. I think with our Pendleton segment of it, we obviously have a heavy residential focus around the 67th Street extension, as well as retail in that future Keystone Development District. So that is Pendleton's vision that we're putting on paper for the 67th Street extension. when we look at traffic patterns from semis, the turning movements that they typically take out of the industrial areas of Anderson, it lends itself more to them using the exit 222 rather than coming down to exit 219.
I think that was a lot of the focus they put in that dedicated on-ramp.
Yes.
Instead of coming out Nestle at the incubator park
Right.
there. It's a dedicated on-ramp, so I think they'll still flow that way.
They still flow down 400 and get stuck all the time. so.
Yeah. That's always
Give
gonna happen.
gardeners plenty of business. Pull them out of the ditch.
But I guess my question is with the, just north of the future Keystone Development District, which could have retail, you have a residential development district. And that would be the logical intersection for the 67th Street extension to come down and intersect Highway 38/State Street. Is that correct?
Yes, and I think one of the local controls we have over this is we can choose to make our Pendleton segment a no truck traffic segment. And we can pass a local ordinance that says, you know, no truck traffic, and we can mitigate it that way if it is an issue.
Does that mean they take old 132?
We would have to direct them to a different location. So, you know, I don't think we would want to direct any truck traffic, you know, going east, southeast. We would want them to go northwest.
So are you willing to insert sort of an amendment to this that this would preclude the use of the connector from 132 to 69 through the Keystone Development District, as well as the use of 132 for heavy truck traffic as a part of the recommendation?
My professional recommendation on this would be to keep the 67th Street extension going through as shown, because I think this does help open up lands for development. And if we don't have a plan on paper, that puts us at a disadvantage, I believe. We will have a shovel-ready project in place. So if we do have anyone that does come to the table saying we want to build future residential in this area, we can say, this is what our plan is moving forward. So if you want to be here, this road needs to be constructed, and we can work through that process with the developer. If we don't have something in place, I think that does limit growth in this area from happening because we don't have a plan for action or a plan for development. Again, I think if we do have issues with truck traffic and it becomes an issue when this corridor is developed, I think at that time we should take the necessary steps to mitigate the truck traffic. But I think if we keep this segment of 67th Street extension out, it's really going to inhibit our growth or limit our growth for the future. If you look down, Brad, at the southwest quadrant, we do have a future 146th Street road extension. And as we all know, 146th Street goes right to Hamilton County, right by the Klipsch Music Center or the Ruoff Music Center. It goes right to Hamilton Town Center. So for Pendleton, this would be a very key step for us to connect to that in Hamilton County. And that then can connect up to the 67th Street extension. You know, transportation is really important for development. Transportation is very important for us to remain a viable community, making sure that we have those important connections to other communities. So I think by keeping this out, it would, I think it would just limit us in a way that I don't think we want to be limited.
When we have no control, Anderson is going to dump trucks to that intersection of 132. I think our best way to get them on to where they need to go is to have this 4-lane road down through here instead of them trying to find their own route through the country. I think that's the last thing we want to do. Is have trucks on 132.
And I think that is a community decision we'll have to make moving forward. you know, I know back in our office, there are varying theories and thoughts of what the traffic will do.
Whatever Google tells them.
I totally agree. I mean, I think they're gonna go the path of least
Right.
resistance.
When the interstate shut down.
So what does the design for that segment look like at this point?
You know, their 10% plans or anything for it, or?
We do have plans that we gather space or stage one design is done. We are in the process of doing our utility review on them. It is a 4-lane divided highway.
Curved and. Yeah. I was
No,
thinking they were curving it to contain spills.
Well, I think they are. I haven't done my deep dive into it yet. I would like to see a curved, do you know if it's curved, Brian?
I don't know for sure if it's curved.
I know at one time it was talked about the ditch on either side, which I don't necessarily think that's what we would like to see in our segment of it. But like I said, we got the plans like last week. And the utility guys have taken a look at them. I haven't taken a deep look at them.
So I have not seen the latest plans on it either. But a long time ago when I looked at the plans, it was a 4-lane divided cross section with ditches and trails on either side.
And I know that's a requirement of the way that this particular funding source was, it was written in, that there had to be multi-use trails, had a median in the center, that could be a landscape median.
We did a stop sign at 132 or a bridge.
I believe there would be a stop
The
sign.
stop sign. So our office did work on some of the scoping for this because we are indirectly funding. It's not actually our funds, it's earmark funds from the feds, but all federal transportation dollars have to funnel through our office regardless. So I'm not as familiar with this project as I could be, but it was in the scoping, it does define which intersections you're gonna have access directly to it, and then what the spacing for intersections would be beyond that. I think it's something like a 1/4 mile or a 1/2 mile. It's one of the best practices.
Because it is limited access.
Right.
Arterial.
It's the whole corridor is supposed to be a limited access corridor.
Right.
Now, to take this actually a little bit back to the thoroughfare plan, what Rachel mentioned earlier is we're trying to wrap up some of our travel demand modeling, which includes looking at 67th Street and the amount of traffic on it as part of scenarios built out to 2045. I will say that the projections on the level of traffic in this area are not very high. So I wouldn't expect a lot of truck traffic until there's a significant amount of additional build out beyond what Anderson's planning right now. Because our forecasts do include additional industrial development along the closer to Anderson portion.
What about the road that's on the other side of the interstate that connects to 600 West? Because that's where, Kyle, you're seeing truck traffic.
Poor
right
Bob,
now.
I don't know what he's gonna do there.
Drive right through his house.
I saw a couple of really big rocks that people moved into that intersection, but
That would require the private owner to develop that track, I would think, before they can.
Heritage Way North Extension.
yeah.
Agreed. It's a connection I think we need to get some relief off of our downtown area. You know, we don't necessarily want to have a bypass from our downtown. It's great having higher traffic counts in the downtown area, but I'm sure we've all been stuck out by the Legion at 5 o'clock on any day of the week. I cannot believe traffic backs up that much sometimes. So having a little bit of relief from that traffic around the downtown, I think would be really helpful for us. Connecting up, having Heritage Way go north and then connecting into 600 South, I think with, you know, the anticipation of having more subdivisions along 600 in the 600 area. You know, the property owner that owns the lot that is just north of the roundabout at Heritage, you know, he's concerned, he's looked at these plans and is concerned that we're bisecting his parcel. So this is an idea on paper. You know, these lines are meant to move. This is just so we can communicate that we need some type of a connection from the roundabout here at Heritage to the intersection of County Road 600 South with 425. So that line can definitely move. So think a little bit in broader strokes that that's just a connection that we need to make.
Okay, so we're also obviously looking at this link as part of the thoroughfare planning process. This would be a great application of a right-of-way dedication ordinance built into the Unified Development Ordinance to have the developer dedicate all the property over to the town and build the roadway as it develops.
So I'm sure you got questions or comments.
I have a few questions and comments. Yes, I thought I'd drop something there. Good evening. My name is Edward Valenti. I'm with Decker Lawyer Maynard. I represent the property owners through what the 67th Street extension is projected to go through, along with the property owners, which the 146th Street tentatively. We all know these are, lines on paper that we're figuring out. But I guess the question I have is, what outreach has the RDC done, or the planning staff, or the planning commission done to the property owners that are involved with this road extension? There's obviously going to be some sort of discussion over running this road over their land. And from our side, we've seen no outreach. So what discussion has been done? What are the plans to reach out to the owners before people start applying for federal funding and writing plans on how the road's going to be?
The 67th Street extension has been on the books since the early 2000s. It's been part of the county's comprehensive plan, and that was money that was federally earmarked in
2001, 2002.
2001. So there's already federal funds that have been allocated for design work, and that's the design work that's being done. That is a City of Anderson project.
I believe the last meetings on that were going to be held in 2018 and were never held. So we'd like to know what happened between the last meetings that were held in late 2017, early 2018, and present.
Who was holding the meetings?
I have to get back with, I believe it was the design consultant firm, the engineering consultant firm was required.
Okay. And that's where I would check with City of Anderson, as they're the LPA, the local project lead on that. They're the ones that the money was awarded to them. We have a subcontract with them that we are paying 20% of the design on it. We're paying a portion of Pendleton's design work on it, but they are the project lead, and they're the ones that are in charge of matching with the public input and having needs for that project.
How is the town of Pendleton advocating for its landowners and citizens when it deals with Anderson?
So when there are the points in time that we have to give feedback and get public input, we are working with City of Anderson on those. So if they are having a public input opportunity, they've had the public opportunities in Pendleton too, where the public can show up. I don't have the dates with me, but I know that they happened in the past. Anything moving forward, if there's information that City of Anderson is planning the meetings, then we would advertise them as well. And let our constituents know that those meetings are going on. However, there's not been anything in the last year that I think for public input required.
COVID has made life so much fun, hasn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Take into consideration too, I mean, as you mentioned and we mentioned, this is a conceptual drawing.
Right, that's,
So
and we're
To-
excited to be a part of the conceptual plan
Yes,
and try and work with the town.
to notify the public and tell the landowner there saying this, it may not be this. Therefore, that might be why some of this has been,
In terms of.
it's not being withheld from you, it's just not ready. Okay, so is there a contact in Anderson?
Yeah, if you have a best contact or if anybody.
Right now,
Yeah.
Chuck Lesser.
Chuck
is
Lesser.
He's a
Okay.
city
City
engineer.
manager. Yeah.
I was over Chuck Lesser.
I've spoken with Chuck before, so.
Yeah, he could probably get you down through someone that's actually doing the design, working on this solely. Go from there.
67th Street extension, that is
Fantastic.
Chuck's
Yeah,
project, so that
that's
would be
his
the best
baby,
point
but
of
he's so
contact with it. Yeah, although Chuck is retiring March 12th, I believe.
Yep, a week.
Everybody's changing. aren't they?
So I would say get in touch with us sooner than later, but it's definitely the Anderson Engineering Office that you'll need to be getting in touch with to get maybe some more detailed updates or ask them some tough questions too.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Those are the only questions I had. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And Edward,
Uh-huh.
these meetings are the appropriate place to find out information at this time. And then if there's, finer details that you want to know about the plan, when we adopt them, when this plan gets adopted, it will likely go on the town's website. So it's available to the public to take a look at what future plans are. And then as projects actually start coming to fruition, and there's land stuff happening and, according to public notification requirements, the landowners will be getting notified if there was actual development starting to happen or potentially going to be happening.
Yes, I think more of the discussion is they'd like to participate in discussions that involve the shaping of the plan, which may or may not be occurring.
So tomorrow night is the RDC meeting.
I will see you there.
First
Yes,
Thursday of
we
each month.
we shall be
So
there.
we're talking about this project tomorrow night.
Fantastic.
I don't think there will be much more discussion than what we've talked about tonight because I don't have much different to report from the planning commission, but
Probably not telling Anderson has something else to do, but it's good to know. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Moving forward on new business. The replat of 336 Blue Spruce and 330. Which one? Blue Spruce. Phil Land Garden. So that's you? Okay.
I'll go ahead and introduce the petition tonight. It's for a replat of lots 101 and 102 in the Pines at Deerfield. So what happened is the gardener's backyard is beautiful and their fence wandered a little bit into the neighbor's yard. And so this will be fixing a fence encroachment onto the Curtis's property, moves the property line of lot 101 6.5 feet to the east on what used to be lot 102. In addition, it combines the two slivers that were part of the DR Horton Westport quitclaim to these property owners in with those lots 101 and 102, which really decreases the chance for those to ever say not get transferred with the future sale of those properties. So it just cleans things up while we're at it. In addition, if this replat were to occur without those two, the property line for the 6.5 feet over could remain in one spot while the other lot line is over here. So it just made sense to combine it all into two lots, fix the fence encroachment with that property line at the same time. So it's a really simple replat. The setbacks are still conforming. Lot 102 does get ever so slightly smaller. However, it is still not the narrowest or smallest lot in the Pines at Deerfield. There are 72-foot lots around the corner on Redwood Drive that I believe are in the 8,000 square foot range. So this lot is still in compliance, and the Gardner lot gets ever so slightly bigger. So it is still in compliance as well. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Are the property owners in agreement with this?
Yes. Yep. The Curtis's signed, the neighbors signed the application as well.
It's my wife's fault. I didn't put the fence there. It was her idea.
He said you're right underneath the bus.
Okay, that's gonna be in the
I'll-
record.
Make him know that I can 6 feet, would you? I'd say if that's the only problem we've had in the whole project to the north there on Cary Glen, I'd say it's pretty easy, even though you gain 6 feet of land.
Well, it's cost.
It's expensive, 6 foot of grass.
Are you still friends?
Yeah.
They've been very.
Okay, okay.
Would there be, so the drainage and utility easement isn't on the back of the lot anymore, is that discussed or?
I asked Keith about that today, and he stated that it was not carried back. I mean, all of the easements are in that existing 20-foot easement. So that's, he showed the 20-foot drainage and utility easement as it's on the plat.
Well, yeah, so that's the plat, the existing plat.
Yes.
So there's no need to have it behind there. There's nothing back there.
Because it slopes up.
Okay.
And Keith is on the line, so Keith, if you have any comments or thoughts,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah, Kayla and I talked about that, and she seemed to think that there was some sort of an easement that was granted her to the development when they transferred all those quitclaim deeds, and there's nothing in the writings. So my opinion is, why give them an additional easement where there's no sense to extend that easement to that north line when all the utilities are still within that 20 foot.
Just remember your sheds in that easement someday.
It's movable.
Unlike the fence.
Most sheds end up in the easement stuff. Okay. Any more questions? Comments? Connie, Brad, do you have any more questions or comments?
She has a comment.
I just not a comment, just a statement. Kayla's been wonderful. And Keith, they've been, I've been emailing and this, but they've been really very helpful.
We appreciate that.
Kayla, yeah. Helping a lot, so thank you.
Tim, this is Brad. I don't have any other comments or questions.
Thank you, sir. Connie, do you have any?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hearing none, comments, questions? That's good. Hearing that, I'll take a motion to accept replat of 336 and 320 Blue Spruce as submitted with the lot lines as described on the petition.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Carol. Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Rachel?
Brad Valentine,
Yes,
Cheryl Rainey Hunt,
Yes.
Carol Hannah,
Yes.
Kyle Icorn,
Yes.
Tim Pritchard.
Yes.
Jenny Sisson, Connie Schultein.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Thank you. Sorry you had to wait so long.
Keep that grass boat, okay?
She does.
Any other questions or comments? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I think that's the only one.